Welcome to Second Best to Scene, the coaching sessions. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm David, and this space is where we have honest conversations about what it means to stop playing a supporting role in your own life. As a mindset coach, my work is all about helping gay men move from that second best feeling to a place of freedom and confidence. And if that sounds like a conversation that you want to be part of, I'd love for you to hit subscribe and hit the like button because it's the simplest way to join us on this journey and make sure that you don't miss what's next. So picture this. I'm sitting in a therapy session years ago, convinced I'm there to process the end of a relationship. I'm ready to talk about the whole process. And in the middle of it all, my therapist pauses, looks at me, and drops a label that I'd never really associated with myself. You're a people pleaser. And the word just hung there it just hung in the air. It was kind of made sense and took me by surprise all in one go. Like somebody just turned a light on in my brain. But it suddenly explained so much. It explained this constant low level exhaustion that I could never quite put my finger on. It explained the resentment and frustration that would build up when I kept putting everybody else's needs and wants ahead of my own. You see, I'd built a life being the useful one, the reliable one. I thought that if I was useful, I was worthy. If I was liked, I mattered. And I was surviving on the energy of making other people happy. And I hadn't realized my own needs, my own wants were sitting on the back seat, completely ignored. What I want to share with you today isn't just the story of recognizing that pattern, but also the specific and practical and maybe slightly odd tool that I've developed to coach myself out of it gently. It's a tool that's become one of my cornerstones of how I speak to myself with kindness. Before we get into that, though, think for a moment about your own inner voice, the one that shows up when you catch yourself in an old pattern. Maybe you've said yes when you meant no. Perhaps you're procrastinating on something that matters. Maybe you're being hard on yourself for no good reason. What does that voice sound like? Is it harsh? Is it a critic? Is it a drill sergeant? Does it sound like a disappointed parent? So many of us are walking around with this inner narrator that's just relentlessly cruel. Now imagine you spoke to your best friend that way. Imagine they came up to you vulnerable and said, I messed up, and you replied with the same harshness that you use on yourself. You wouldn't do it. You'd offer kindness and perspective, and you'd offer support. Here's what I've learned: the way that I talk to myself in those moments of recognition determines whether I move forward with compassion or I get stuck in a shame spiral. And that choice, my friend, well, it's everything. So when I catch myself slipping, which it happens from time to time, when I notice the old people pleasing urge rising up or any behavior that doesn't support my heart, my goals, or the man that I'm consciously choosing to become, I do something straightforward. I call myself Dave. Now, Dave, well, that's a name reserved for me and maybe one or two very, very close friends who've earned the right. But when I use it on myself, it's always with fondness and some humor. It's always with this gentle sense of self-respect. It's like an arm around my own shoulder. It's not an attack, but it's a pattern interrupt. And it's my anchor. And I'll say something like, come on, Dave, let's sort this out. Or if I'm feeling overwhelmed, it might be like, great, come on, Dave, we've got to get organized. We've got people in the freedom community to help. It's the coach within me speaking to that human part of me who might be struggling. It's a simple act of separation that creates space for kindness to enter. And instead of being in this chaotic feeling, I'm gently coaching myself through it. let me ask you something. What would change for you right now if you could speak to yourself like you were coaching your best friend through a difficult moment? Just sit with that for a second. Think about a time recently where you were hard on yourself. Now, replay that moment, but instead of your usual inner critic, bring in the voice that you would use with somebody that you love. What does it say? What's the tone? What's the energy? Here's another question. What name or phrase would you use with yourself that would immediately shift into that gentler, more supportive energy? Doesn't have to be your name. Maybe it's a warm nickname from your childhood. I've got a friend who calls himself Buddy. Whatever it is, it needs to be a word that for you is coded with affection. The key is a simple anchor that moves you out of this first person storm of self criticism. All right, let's look at the practical framework and application for putting this tool to work. So, how does this work in daily life? Well, let's take a couple of scenarios. Let's say you're chatting on a dating app and you're having a good conversation and chat, and then you get ghosted. That old inner critic might launch into that familiar script. See, another one. What did you do wrong? You are probably too much. It's a spiral, man. Instead, you pause, you take a breath, you bring in your coach. All right, Dave. Well, that sucks a bit, doesn't it? Their silence isn't a reflection of your worth. Let's close the app and do something that's more rewarding than talking to a walking red flag. Or maybe you catch yourself at work saying yes to another project when you're already drowning. And that familiar wave of resentment starts to build up. And instead of letting it fester, you check in with yourself. Right, come on, Dave. We noticed that pattern, didn't we? We said yes to be helpful, but what do you need right now? What do you need to feel more balanced? Can you feel the difference in the energy? One approach keeps you stuck in the problem, making you feel like a victim. And then the other gently acknowledges the pattern and immediately starts looking for a compassionate solution. So here's what I want you to consider. Where in your life could you use more of this gentle coaching? Is it in your relationships where you might be quick to take the blame? Is it in your career where imposter syndrome runs the show? Or is it part of your daily habits to beat yourself up for not being perfect? And here's the deeper question. What part of you is ready to be spoken to with more kindness? Because often that harsh inner critic that we all have is just a younger part of us trying to protect us from getting hurt. It's using a strategy that it learned a long time ago that if it criticizes you first, then the outside world won't, or if it does, it doesn't hurt as much. But protection through criticism rarely moves us forward, just keeps us small and safe, but never truly fulfilled. So, this technique is about letting that part of you know that there's a new kind of person in charge now. Now, if you're ready to take the next step, I've got an invitation for you. I would love for you to come and join me in the Freedom Community. It's my private coaching community for gay men who are ready to move from feeling second best to truly seen in their own lives. And inside, I'll give you the tools, the coaching, the daily support that make that happen. You don't have to figure this out all alone because now you've got me to guide you. The link is waiting for you in the description below. And whenever you're ready, I would love to see you there. Until next time, trust your voice and be well.